We're waiting. The architect of Obamacare is trying to explain after he was caught on camera calling the American people stupid. He says those comments were off the cuff. If that is the case, why has he now said it, apparently, on two different occasions?
For people with expensive health insurance plans, they will no longer get a 40% tax break. What if we instead just levied a 40% tax on the insurance companies that sell these terrible expensive Cadillac plans? We said, well, that's pretty much the same thing, but why does it matter? He said, you'll see. And they were posted in that past. Because the American voter is too stupid to understand the difference.
All right, so now, he said that apparently, that we have found twice in the month of October a year ago. James Capretta, Senior Fellow, Ethics and Public Policy Center. How are you, sir? Good morning to you. And Avik Roy is a Senior Fellow at the Manhattan Institute. And gentlemen, good morning. He's trying to explain this way. WGBH out of Massachusetts said this yesterday on screen. I think this comes to the master strategy of the Republican Party, which is to confuse people enough about the law so they don't understand the subsidies they're getting are because of the law. That's kind of in reference to what the Supreme Court's going to tackle. But Avik, has he been able, or can he, explain away what in the world he was trying to communicate to the stupid American people?
Well, Bill, you didn't have time to go through all of the Jonathan Gruber videos. There are a couple of videos that came out a couple of months ago in which Gruber explicitly said that the case of the challengers in that particular case, the Halbig and King case that's before the Supreme Court, that they were right, that Obamacare doesn't authorize subsidies to flow through a federally run exchange versus state-based exchange. So he's running around calling other people liars and calling other people's integrity into question, but he's the one actually boasting about how Obamacare was dishonestly passed.
I mean, it's insulting to everyone, James. A Republican, well, Democrat, Independent, whether you like the bill or not, whether you like the law or not. I mean, right. Wow.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, he's an academic, so he's not a political person in a certain way, so in some ways I give him a little bit of slack. But on the other hand, I think one thing that's pretty clear here is that the voters actually do kind of understand what's going on. I think the unpopularity of the law is related to the fact that a lot of Americans are paying those hidden taxes that he's been describing or facing them in the future, and they're realizing that, and they're pretty unhappy about it. So, you know, to some degree, the voters may not be quite as uninformed as he thinks. Well, they're figuring out that they're paying a lot more.
That's a great point. Now we understand he wrote a comic book about health care. Did you guys know that? I mean, health care reform, here it is in illustration. This is what he said yesterday when asked about it on MSNBC. Roll this.
The comment and the video were made at an academic conference. I was speaking off the cuff, and I basically spoke inappropriately, and I regret having made those comments.
So Avik, it's an academic conference here. He was one of the guys who went to members of Congress and helped them draft the legislation. He was that deep into it.
Absolutely, and you know, he's done this before where he claims it's a speako or he claims it was off the cuff, but as you showed in that second tape, this is a line he's mentioned a number of different times. And this is his view, and it's not just his view, by the way. One of the reasons why people on the left believe that the government needs to control the health care system is that they strongly believe and explicitly believe that Americans aren't competent to make these decisions for themselves, that we have to control those health dollars on your behalf, because if you do, you control those dollars, you're going to make bad decisions. So that's the fundamental philosophy behind not just Obamacare, but Medicare and Medicaid and a lot of other programs, and that's why a lot of people are unhappy about it.
And we know, James, now that the Supreme Court's going to take this issue up again about subsidies to the states. That means we're going to get another significant morning of an Obamacare ruling by the Supreme Court, maybe toward the end of next June. Byron York made the point last hour that all these Obamacare debates now with Republicans in control of Congress, guess what's going to come up? These videos and these words. And at the moment, who knows how many more are out there, James?
Right. No, he's been speaking quite a bit in the last 5 years. So there's a lot of videos, probably more to come. I think the big issue is, you know, what's going to happen next. And I do think if the Supreme Court sides with the plaintiffs, as they very well might, the issue is going to be, what do we do after that? And, you know, they will take a Republican Congress. They'll put some pressure back on them. They need to come up with alternatives that aren't so governmental, that don't treat citizens as uninformed people, but actually trust them to make good decisions for themselves.
Very true. Very
true.
They
need to do that.
Gentlemen, I will never call you stupid, okay? Avik Roy and James Capretta, we will speak again, okay? And we'll see what the explanation is next from the White House. Thank you, fellas.
Thanks, Bill.
Here's Mark.
Thank you.